It's been over a year since I last made a video. Yeah, I kind of lost, I suppose, either lost interest, or anytime I had an idea for a video, I'd think it wouldn't be that interesting, or I was afraid people wouldn't care, or I don't know. And of course, the beginning of this year, thanks to the coronavirus, nothing's really happened. I haven't been anywhere or done much. Although last year I did, the latter half of 2019 was actually very busy. A bit disappointed I didn't decide to do any vlogs about those things, because I went to some concerts. Well, I went to a couple of concerts. I went to quite a few conventions and whatnot. So I am a bit disappointed I didn't make videos about those. But I have decided to come back, and anything I find interesting to talk about, I'm going to make a video right now, because I've got the time. I am still furloughed. I've been furloughed since April, about the beginning of April, and I'm getting little not bored. I can always find myself something to do, but I do want to go back to making videos again. So I was trying to think of what would be a good thing to talk about, and me and my partner have been recently watching the Star Wars films again. And now that all the Star Wars films, currently anyway, the newer trilogy is now finished, all these films are available to watch on Disney Plus. So I thought it would be a good idea to review some of them. The way me and my partner have been doing it is that we watched Phantom Menace on May the 4th, because I hadn't watched it in a long time. And that's the problem with the prequels. There's so much opinion about the prequels. Everybody has opinions about them mostly being bad. Everybody admits that they are really, really bad. But I realised I hadn't seen Revenge of the Sith or Attack of the Clones since I originally saw them at the cinema, and that's a long time ago. So all I knew about the prequels, I learned from watching other videos and hearing other people's opinions on them. And I thought, well, you know what, since we're watching Phantom Menace, and it was actually my partner who came up with the idea, why not watch all the Star Wars films in order? So that's what we're doing. And we have just finished watching the the prequel trilogy, and I thought today it would be interesting to share my opinions on the the prequel trilogy, because we've watched all three of them now. So the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to give sort of things I liked, things I didn't like about each film, and then sort of an overview of what I think. Because to be honest, I'm going to say this now, I can understand why they're not well liked and they're not the best stuff, definitely. But I don't think they're terrible, personally. But let's get to it. So, Phantom Menace. What are the problems with Phantom Menace? Obviously, everybody says Jar Jar Binks. And yeah, I can agree. If he was only in it for the beginning, like when they first meet him on Naboo, and he helps them escape, and they discover, I forget what they're called, his Jar Jar's race. If that's all he's in it for, and then he just says goodbye and that's it, that wouldn't be too bad. But the fact that he's in it throughout the whole thing, and he has no purpose other than just being klutzy and comic relief, bad comic relief. He's not funny at all. And it's just, why is he here? He has no purpose. He has no point. And that's the problem. It's like, if you were in it just for the beginning, fine. You'd probably be forgotten about. People wouldn't care so much. But the fact that he's in so much of it, he's just not funny and not interesting, and you don't care. And you just want him to not be there. So that drags it down. The acting is not great. I would say Jake Lloyd he's not terrible, he's just a kid. I actually genuinely thought he wasn't that bad. Maybe some of the way he says the lines, yes, I can get it, but the whole thing is dubbed over anyway, which makes some of it a bit awkward. What other things? I guess I didn't think it was paced actually that badly. But I will say all the time they spend on Tatooine trying to get little Anakin to come with them maybe goes on a bit long. The pod race I didn't mind, but I would say probably, yeah, a little bit too long. Plus you knew Anakin was going to win, so that's sort of... And the fact that he stalls at the beginning and takes forever to try to get himself started again, and yet he still manages to win, is almost like, really? You managed to catch up that quickly after stalling so badly? I don't know. Yeah... Honestly, I'm trying to think back over what else was really bad about it. And I don't know, I think because Jar Jar is in it for so much, that does overshadow a lot of it. And and apparently there is a cut out there. My boyfriend keeps saying that there is a cut out there, the Phantom cut, which actually makes it better. I believe him. I'm sure there is, and I'm sure there is a way you can make it better. But yeah, I didn't think it was awful, to be honest. I know everyone's supposed to rag on it, but I didn't think it was awful. I mean, things I liked about it, Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi is the best, one of the best parts of the whole trilogy anyway. You can really buy him as a young Obi-Wan. It's a bit of a shame he doesn't get to do too much in this one. He's mostly just, I would have liked to have seen more between Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. I feel like because it's supposed to be about him mentoring little Anakin, we don't get so much with Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, which I think is a bit of a shame. I'd like to have seen more of that, but I get why. The fight scene at the end, I will say this, the fight scene at the end is really good, very well choreographed, very emotional in many ways, and I genuinely enjoyed that whole fight scene. Another thing I'm not good for, Anakin getting in a ship and suddenly being able to blow it up. I know they're supposed to be setting him up as some sort of, because of what he'll become in the future, but this is a kid who only races pods. That's all he's done. I know he's supposed to be a talented pilot, and he does have a droid with him, but I don't know, that just is a little bit too hard to believe, really. Yeah. But what else was good? Can't think of anything else specifically I enjoyed. This film either had things, not great things, some good things, and the rest of it is just, it was what it was. I think the sort of escape from the whole Naboo bit in the beginning also went on a bit too long. It's like, just leave already, stop getting into trouble with, keep finding new trouble with big fish and stuff like that. It's like, you don't need that. So I think there was just a lot of unneeded stuff as well. The whole Metachlorian things I'm not going to get into because I don't really care enough to care about what they were all about. So then there's Attack of the Clones, which I think is sometimes remembered as the worst of these. And I have to admit, I've watched this one recently, and I can't even remember half of what happened. Memorable film indeed. I remember, okay, so things I didn't like. Padme and Anakin's relationship didn't seem genuine. I'm not even talking about the dialogue necessarily. I felt they didn't have any chemistry, especially when they first meet, because he seems very creepy towards her. And there's even a bit where she is like, yeah, this isn't inappropriate, you're making me uncomfortable. And it's like, okay, but yet not long after you're romping through fields and suddenly you're getting together. And I just don't feel like their relationship felt, I felt they didn't have any chemistry. I didn't really feel like they should have been getting together, and that their relationship is what sort of drives a lot of the plot in this one and the second and the third one. So yeah, I wasn't really a big fan of that. As I say, the dialogue in it, not great. Plus, there's got this whole thing with the Tusken Raiders that he steals, that his mum is captured. That's all very emotional, you know, and I have to admit he does the anger well and stuff. But it's just the fact that he admits to Padme, very emotionally, of killing children, women and children. Not just the Raiders themselves, the women and children. And yet Padme's just like, oh, I'll give you a hug. It's like, this guy's just admitted. I know they're supposed to be painted up to be like bad, like horrible, but it just seems like, I know that's supposed to give you a hint that he's capable of killing women and children, but at the same time it's like he just kind of, oh, poor you, not sort of, okay, I know you're angry. I don't know, that really stuck in my mind as a bit odd. There was this whole scene in, I guess, some sort of power plant, manufacturing plant that's huge with lots of lava and stuff. And they're jumping around on the conveyor belts, Anakin, Padme, and then you've got wacky 3CPO getting in. I felt that whole scene was just unneeded. It was like, I feel like this is either a computer game or cartoon. It really didn't feel like it should have been in this film at all. I kind of got bored with all that. It's like added drama. It just felt like it was stretching it out. Same with the sort of search for the bounty hunter at the beginning. That took forever, and I felt like that didn't need to be as long as it was. It just feels like some of these sequences are stretched out longer than they need to be, for whatever reason. Extra drama, extra action, I don't know. But I didn't feel like they needed to be. But when I try and think of what's good about Attack of the Clones, I will admit, again, apart from Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan, I do like Ewan McGregor. I was quite a fan of his back when he was doing Star Wars. Sort of lost track in the last few years, but I used to really like Ewan McGregor, and I think he is very good as Obi-Wan. You believe he is a young Obi-Wan. But the only thing I think I really liked about this, weirdly, was the climax, or most of the climax actually, apart from that whole escaping from the manufacturing plant thing. Once they actually get captured and and they're in that arena and all the Jedi turn up, I actually really enjoyed all of that, seeing the Jedi fight. Yeah, so anything else I like about it is, I don't know, Ewan McGregor and the ending, I can't even remember half of what actually happened in it. That is probably why I would consider it as the worst of the three, because if it's so forgettable and there's so much stuff I didn't like about it, that sort of tells you something, doesn't it? So Revenge of the Sith. Revenge of the Sith is considered one of the better ones, and I will actually agree. Straight off the bat, I will agree. I remember seeing this one. This is one I definitely know I last saw at the cinema back in 2005, and I hadn't seen since. But I knew so much about it. And the reason I think it is probably one of the better ones is, A, it has one of the better starts. It has a really good space battle with them trying to save Palpatine. And then Anakin ending up killing Count Dooku, even though Jedi aren't supposed to do that. I thought the manipulation by Palpatine of Anakin, I actually thought was going quite well. So this is the criticism. I thought it was actually going quite well up until the point where, of course, the big turn bit where he helps Mace Windu he chops his arm off and the Emperor kills him and all that. And then suddenly he's willing to follow Palpatine. And I felt that was just so sudden. And I think that's one of the biggest problems. Just like I said, the development of his turn to the dark side is subtle. It is manipulating. You are starting to think that he is very much doubting the Jedi, suspicious of them, mistrustful of them and all that. But then suddenly you've got this emperor, well, this guy Palpatine, who's all using lightning. He's a Sith Lord, and he is basically attacking Mace Windu. And even though Mace Windu is saying he'll kill him, and Anakin's saying no, he has to stand trial, it's like, yeah, but what do you care about that? You've already killed somebody. And it seems like, oh yes, you are learning the way of the Jedi, but you still help him die. And this guy is supposed to be, oh no, help me, he attacked me. What? It's like, how can you be so stupid to believe this guy? It's just so badly done. And it's a shame because, like I said, it was building up so well. It was going so well. And then it just rushed it. They completely rushed it. To be honest, when you think of how angry he got in Attack of Clones when his mum died, and what lengths he went to, his anger, how he took his anger out on them, what would have probably made more sense for a turn is if something like Padme died. We know she was going to, but if she died in childbirth, and somehow he blamed the Jedi for that, this whole thing of someone, it didn't feel like it was rational. I mean, the rationale of it is, oh, but only Palpatine knows how to save Padme, who I've had a prophecy is going to die. And it's like, yes, but when you're confronted with her, you get angry and nearly kill her anyway. And it's like, I don't know, it feels like that is not a strong enough motivation trying to keep her alive. It doesn't feel like a strong enough motivation for him to turn to the dark side so suddenly. And I think that's the biggest downfall of the whole film, because the climax is really good. The fight scene and the talking, despite the fact that both of them should have been toast the moment they got anywhere near that lava, doesn't matter. The actual fight itself is very emotional, is very good, is very well done. The whole thing when they order the killing of the Jedi, that is quite chilling, just seeing them all getting portrayed in different places and this whole massacre and stuff. It feels, dramatic and emotional and stuff. And of course it had a really good beginning, but it's just a shame that the biggest crux of the film, the biggest whole point of these prequels, in essence, Anakin turning to the dark side and the rise of the Empire, is just done in such a rush. It starts well and then just gets completely, it's not believable. Especially when the first act he does is kills a load of younglings. It's like, really? That's the first act, is to kill all these kids? That just seemed too out of place. I didn't feel it. I think that is the biggest problem in the film. Otherwise, if it wasn't for that, I would say that Revenge of the Sith was the best of the prequels, and the only one I would probably rewatch, because now that I've watched them again, I don't really have a desire to watch them again. It's like I've given them a rewatch. I've seen them through hopefully my own eyes as opposed to the internet's opinions of them, so I can give my own opinion, my own thoughts. And I genuinely don't think they're awful films necessarily. I think there is enough in them to enjoy if you're willing to overlook other things. But for me personally, Revenge of the Sith is the only one I would consider watching again. Otherwise, I feel there's no reason for me. There's nothing for me to want to go back to see. I would happily just watch clips or whatever that Phantom cut that Matt says he's got. So, yeah. So overall, Star Wars prequels. The next set of videos I'm going to do is for Solo and Rogue One, which is what I am calling the middle film. Not middle films. The well, yeah, middle films. They're not part of the trilogy. They're just on their own films. But I'm putting them together because they do code Solo and then Rogue One. So I'm going to watch those and review both of those because I've got very different opinions about those. And then I'll do the original trilogy once we've watched that, and then the newer trilogy once we get to that. So yes, there are some other ideas I've got for videos as well that I would like to do. So hopefully they will be coming. There is one next weekend I definitely want to do, and we'll see what happens otherwise. So here's hoping I keep this up again, because I do enjoy making videos, and it has been a long time. I have rewatched some of my old videos and realised, I do enjoy that. I enjoyed making that. So yeah, here we go.